The story of Europe. Welcome. Welcome to Europe. A continent of castles and cathedrals, revolutions and empires, art that inspires the world, and ideas that shaped humanity. Europe feels different the moment you imagine it. Rolling hills, frozen rivers, bustling cities, and quiet villages coexist. The footsteps of history echo in every street. From philosophers to kings, scientists to artists, Europe has produced countless people whose ideas changed the world. This is a continent where the past is always present, yet innovation never stops. Part 1. The Birth of Europe and Early Civilizations. Europe's story begins with land and people. The continent stretches from the Arctic in the north to the Mediterranean in the south, from the Atlantic Ocean in the west to the Ural Mountains in the east. Its geography is varied. Forests, plains, rivers, and mountains have all shaped the lives of those who live here. The first humans arrived in Europe tens of thousands of years ago. They lived as hunters and gatherers, following animals and seasonal plants. Cave paintings, stone tools, and ancient settlements show that early Europeans were creative, resourceful, and deeply connected to nature. Agriculture changed everything. By around 6000 BCE, farming spread across Europe. People grew wheat, barley, and vegetables. They raised animals like sheep, cows, and pigs. Villages grew into towns. Communities became organized around shared land, water, and resources. Early civilizations in Europe developed along rivers, just as they did in Asia. The Danube, the Rhine, and the Po valleys became centers of settlement. Farming provided food surplus, which allowed culture, trade, and craftsmanship to flourish. Religion and belief were central to early European life. People worshipped nature, animals, and celestial forces. They built stone circles, temples, and shrines to honor spirits and ancestors. These practices created a foundation for European culture that would continue through centuries. Empires began to rise. The Greeks were among Europe's first great civilizations. They built city-states, developed democracy, and explored philosophy, science, and art. Thinkers like Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle changed the way humans think about the world. Rome came next. The Roman Empire united large parts of Europe under law, roads, and trade. Roman ideas about governance, architecture, and engineering spread across the continent. Even after Rome fell, its influence remained in language, law, and culture. Trade connected Europe. Goods, ideas, and knowledge traveled across rivers, mountains, and seas. European societies exchanged technology, art, and culture long before the modern era. Europe became a continent of ideas as much as armies. Power shifted, and new kingdoms emerged. Medieval Europe saw knights, castles, and monarchies rise. Life was organized by land, loyalty, and service. Feudal systems created order, but also inequality. Religion shaped politics and daily life, especially through the influence of the Catholic Church. Art and culture grew alongside power. Gothic cathedrals, illuminated manuscripts, and classical music began to appear. Education spread in monasteries and universities. The desire to explore, learn, and create became a defining European trait. By the end of the medieval period, Europe was ready to change. Cities grew, trade expanded, and new ideas emerged. Renaissance thinkers rediscovered knowledge from the past and combined it with curiosity and innovation. Science, literature, and art flourished. Europe was on the path to becoming the continent the world would notice for centuries. Europe's foundation is complex. It is built on conflict, collaboration, faith, and curiosity. Its people have always balanced power with creativity, tradition with change, and local identity with broader connection. Part 2. Empires, Exploration, and Revolution. Europe's story in the second phase is marked by expansion, discovery, and dramatic change. Once small kingdoms and empires were united by ambition, competition, and the desire for wealth and influence. Europe became a continent of explorers, conquerors, and thinkers, each leaving a lasting impact. By the 15th century, Europeans were looking beyond their borders. Countries like Spain, Portugal, France, and England sent ships across the oceans in search of trade, land, and resources. This period, known as the Age of Exploration, connected Europe with Africa, Asia, and the Americas. Europeans traded spices, gold, silver, and ideas. While this brought wealth, it also brought conflict, colonization, and profound change to other continents. Meanwhile, Europe itself experienced internal struggles. Kings, nobles, and religious leaders competed for power. Wars were frequent, but they also drove innovation in military strategy, governance, and diplomacy. The Renaissance, and later the Enlightenment, showed that intellectual growth could challenge authority, religion, and tradition. Revolutions became a European hallmark. The 17th and 18th centuries brought dramatic social and political change. In England, the Glorious Revolution limited the power of monarchy and strengthened parliament. In France, revolution overthrew the monarchy, introducing ideas of liberty, equality, and citizenship, ideas that spread across the continent. Science and thought progressed rapidly. Figures like Galileo, Newton, and Copernicus reshaped Europe's understanding of nature, physics, and the universe. Universities, salons, and libraries became centers of learning. Curiosity became as powerful as armies, influencing societies for generations. Empires continued to expand. By the 19th century, Europe dominated much of the globe through colonization and trade. Britain, France, Spain, and later Germany and Russia controlled territories in Africa, Asia, and the Americas. European languages, laws, and customs spread widely, changing the world forever. But empire also brought resistance. Colonized peoples resisted foreign control. Ideas of independence and national identity emerged globally, partly influenced by European revolutions and philosophies. Europe's power often came with responsibility and conflict. The continent itself was not free from tragedy. World War I and World War II brought destruction, suffering, and profound loss. Millions died. Cities were destroyed. Empires fell. But Europe learned from these experiences. Borders were redrawn, political systems reformed, and organizations like the European Union were created to prevent future conflict. Despite wars and challenges, Europe has always adapted. Its economy, culture, and political systems evolved to meet new demands. Industry, trade, and technology grew, transforming rural societies into urban nations. Education, science, and art continued to flourish alongside power and politics. Europe's story shows a continent of contrasts. It is a place of both creation and destruction, exploration and conflict, tradition and innovation. Its history demonstrates how ideas, people, and institutions interact to shape not only Europe, but the entire world. Part 3. Modern Europe. Culture, diversity, and global influence. Modern Europe is a continent shaped by thousands of years of history, conflict, and creativity. Cities, towns, and countrysides carry traces of the past while embracing the future. From ancient ruins to modern skyscrapers, Europe combines heritage and innovation in a way few continents can. Europe's population is diverse, Hundreds of languages, ethnicities, and cultures coexist. People are connected by shared history, but maintain local traditions. Festivals, art, music, and food reflect centuries of development, trade, and migration. From Italian opera to Spanish flamenco, from French cuisine to German engineering, Europe's cultural influence spreads worldwide. Democracy and human rights are central today. Many European countries embrace political systems that balance freedom, equality, and rule of law. Ideas from the Enlightenment and later revolutions continue to influence education, governance, and civic life. Citizens participate actively in shaping their societies, holding governments accountable, and valuing personal and collective rights. Economically, Europe remains powerful. Industrialization, trade, and innovation have created some of the world's largest economies. Cities like London, Paris, Berlin, and Amsterdam are hubs of finance, technology, and culture. Europe continues to lead in science, design, and creative industries while fostering collaboration through organizations like the European Union. Europe is also a continent of learning. Universities and schools attract students from across the globe. History, literature, philosophy, and art are preserved and taught with respect and pride. Museums, libraries, and galleries showcase centuries of achievement, reminding people of human creativity and resilience. Despite progress, Europe faces challenges. Immigration, climate change, economic inequality, and political tensions require careful management. Countries must balance growth with sustainability, unity with diversity, and tradition with modernization. These challenges test European societies, but also inspire innovation and cooperation. Europe teaches important lessons. Its history shows that power alone is not enough. Empires rise and fall, wars bring destruction, but knowledge, culture, and cooperation endure. European nations learn to rebuild after devastation, to balance innovation with tradition, and to value human dignity alongside progress. The continent's influence extends globally. From literature to science, music to philosophy, Europe has shaped thought and culture worldwide. Its inventions, ideas, and discoveries continue to affect how humans live, work, and think today. Europe's story reminds us that learning from the past is essential for shaping the future. Europe also demonstrates the power of adaptation. Societies, governments, and individuals evolve when faced with challenges. Creativity, resilience, and respect for knowledge allow Europe to survive crises and grow stronger. Its people have learned to balance freedom with responsibility, tradition with change, and diversity with unity. In Europe, history is never forgotten. Castles, monuments, books, and streets carry stories of triumph and tragedy. Remembering these stories helps people make better decisions, appreciate achievements, and respect the struggles of previous generations. Modern Europe is not perfect, but it is enduring. It is a continent of ideas, creativity, resilience, and diversity. It shows that nations and peoples are defined not just by borders or rulers, but by culture, learning, and the ability to grow after challenges. Europe's story is ongoing. Its lessons continue to inspire the world. Honor knowledge, respect diversity, embrace change, and build a future that balances the past with possibility. Europe is not only a continent. It is a living classroom showing humanity how history, culture, and human determination can shape the world.